Hey guys, so in this in this video, I want to do a couple of examples from graphing with the rectangular coordinate system. So with our rectangular coordinate system, on the right over here, I just have some general terms, the quadrants, the X and Y axis, and then also horizontal and vertical. On the left is where we focus a lot on points. And so we have something called an ordered pair. It's called ordered because the order matters. So the first number is always going to be X, second number is always going to be Y. So when I'm plotting these points, I do have to go in a certain order. The first thing I'm going to do is move on the X-axis, which is going to be move left or right. The second thing I'm going to do is move on the Y-axis, or up and down. So really these two things say the same thing. The only difference is I rewrote it because I felt like that box was pretty small. You're going to move right if it's negative. Sorry, you're going to move left if it's negative, right if it's positive, up if it's positive, down if it's negative. And remember, that's going to correspond with the actual numbers in those places. So let's look at some. Example 1 says, plot the following points. In another video, you'll see how to actually plot these in Hawks. This video is just really to show you how to do the math. So point A is -2, -1. So I'm going to move left or right first, and let's keep that up on the screen. So that -2 tells me that I'm going to move right. I'm going to move, left 2. And then that -1 says I'm going to move down 1. And so I'm going to move left 2, 1, 2, down 1, put a dot. And then I'm going to call that point A because that's what they called it. All right, B, I've got 3, -6. So I'm going to move right 3, down 6. So right 3, 1, 2, 3, down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to call that point B because that's what they said it was. And then the last one, -4, -3. I'm going to go left 4, down 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1, 2, 3, and call that C. And so there is my graphing of points. You will be expected to go the other way. If you are given the points, you should be able to write that. So if I just did this point here and called that D, that would be associated with, I have to go left or right first. So right 1, so that's going to be a +1, up 2, +2. So that would be the point 1, 2. So you will need to be able to go both ways for that. All right, example 2 says determine if the given ordered pair satisfies the equation. And so they gave us this equation, x plus 2y equals -2. And they're saying, does the point 3, 2 work? So it's going to be yes if the equation is true, or the equal sign is true. It's going to be no if the equation is false after you plug in these numbers. And so I went ahead and labeled them. X is -3 because it's in the first spot. Y is 2. And so where I have this equation, I'm going to replace these variables with the numbers they gave me. So -3 for X plus 2 times Y, but they told me Y was 2, and then equals -2. Now this is just a matter of simplifying. So on the left-hand side, I have to do my multiplication first. 2 times 2 is 4. And then -3 plus 4, does that equal 2? Well, -3 plus 4 is going to be a +1, and 1 does not equal 2, so no, that does not satisfy the given equation. And that will just be multiple choice. You'll select yes or no, and then off you go. All right, the next part of that says determine if this ordered pair, 6, -4, satisfies the given equation. So I've got that same equation, x plus 2y equals -2. I went ahead and labeled x and y. So x is going to be a 6 plus 2y, but y is -4 this time. So order of operations, do that multiplication first. It's going to give me -8. 6 minus -8, or 6 plus -8, is going to be -2. And -2 does equal -2. And so, yes, the point 6, -4 does satisfy the equation. All right, our next example is a two-part again. So it says consider the following equation in the ordered pairs. And you see them there, -1y and x -1. And then my equation is 2x plus 2y equals 8. Now what they've asked me to do in part A is to compute the missing values. And then you're going to physically type those values in to this chart. And so what this chart says is that x equals -1, y is what you're looking for. And that's what that ordered pair says. X equals -1, y is unknown. And so what I'm going to do is plug in x equals -1 and then solve for the missing variable, in this case, y. So I've got this equation, 2x plus 2y equals 8. Where there was an x, I'm going to replace with a -1. Carry everything down. And now I'm going to solve this for y. And so 2 times -1 is going to give me -2 plus 2y equals 8. Now I'm getting y by itself, so I'm going to add 2 to both sides and get 2y equals 10. And then divide and get y equals 5. And so that answer I'm going to fill in to the chart. I'm going to do the same thing for the other column. So the other column, this one says y equals -1, and we want to solve for x because that is the missing value, the missing term. And I know that because it lines up with the x in my table. So I've got the same equation, 2x plus 2y equals 8. I'm going to fill in the fill in the y to be -1. And then I'm solving for x. Okay, 2 times -1 gives me -2. And we don't have to write plus negative. I should just write this as minus. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides and get 2x equals 10. And then also get x equals 5. Now, don't think that that will always happen. That was just a coincidence that x and y happen to be the same number. Now you've filled in those values. Now part B is going to ask you to graph it. And so I can use this table and turn these into graphs like this. Now I have created these ordered pairs. So now I've got the ordered pair -1, 5 and 5, -1. So now I'm going to plot those two. I'm going to try and line the colors up. This first one, -1, 5, I'm going to go left 1, up 5. Put a dot. I'm not doing anything with the dot other than just putting a dot. The next one, 5, -1, I'm going to go right 5 and down 1. And so that is the extent of our graph. We're just getting practice plotting points. All right, and then the last one, example 4, says here's your equation, 6x minus 2y equals 17. determine the missing coordinate for the ordered pair that satisfies the equation. So I've got this equation, you can see here, 6x minus 2y equals 17, and they said to fill in x with negative 2 and solve for y. So really, these two examples, example 3 and example 4, are really asking the same things, just in a slightly different format. And so I'm going to fill in x equals negative 2, which is going to give me this equation. Notice I'm not filling in y because that's what I'm looking for. I don't know y. 6 times negative 2 is going to give me a negative 12. Carry everything else down. Add 12 to both sides. Oops. Divide by negative 2 and get y equals negative 29 over 2. Do not convert it to a decimal or anything. Unless you're graphing, just leave them as fractions. Now we'll see in another video when we are trying to graph fractions, we'll use the decimal just to help us with graphing. But in terms of typing these answers in, you're going to leave them as fractions. Now in Hawks, you're going to physically fill in the missing coordinate. And so you would type in that answer you get there. So this is how it will look in the homework.